as well. It's cool to see BlossoM pick up a map, but can they do it again? It's consistency that will give you the top placements in the long run. See if BlossoM can make a valiant effort in that regard.
Volskaya, BlossoM's choice. Let's see if we see anything surprising tonight. And it is BlossoM, the one most creative before Supernova, I would say. And oftentimes when they brought us to one of these maps, Volskaya, Braxis, we saw the miracle happen. Cho'Gall, Ariel, Medivh.
Don't get my hopes up. G-Clef. Phoenix ban, Genji ban, Malfurion first pick, not really any surprise there. We've been talking about hammers and how that has been kind of the, double quotes meta so far. How many did we get this time? I would say it's pretty popular to see first or second pick Urel, so probably that's what BlossoM would go with. Maybe they do want to go with an early Hanzo, if that's priority.
Kono so far has been pretty good on board, and I think that's a good way. Oftentimes both teams has been, except for BlossoM in game 1, I guess, they have been hiding their DPS so well. Not really revealing too much, making the other team actually spend their ban picks on something else, because right now the potentials of having a lot of DPS is always there. This map, Sergeant Hammer not too bad either, so you do want to build your heroes up in thinking of those picks if you have that in mind. Irel, not too bad.
There's the Hanzo, but more importantly, the Kerosene still a very high priority. And I think that in a big way, we are going to see a shift as the phase continues of Kerosene being very highly prioritized. It seems to be super effective, at least today, over both of our series. And see if that continues. I mean, some things change, some things don't. I guess Hanzo is one of those. We're going to have to nerf that guy a lot for him not to be very, very popular.
Yeah, also, Kerosene seems to be winning all the games today. When it was moved to BlossoM, they took game 3. So we'll see if that continues for BlossoM. If that does, we'll go to the final game. But talked to lots of Korean pros about Kerosene. Why do you think he's so popular, especially in Korea? And oftentimes they say he's a damage. He's actually a DPS that you don't expect too much to happen during teamfight. So he can create the kills that supposed to not supposed to happen. And he's supposed to be a support that does a lot of damage. So I think that's one of the reasons with high utility can cleanse after 16 as well.
Tracidar coming through for Ballistix, and now we're gonna head into ban phase 2. Nubarak. Yep. Banned out by BlossoM.
Well, they felt that pain in Towers of Doom.
Definitely did.
Because very likely, not very likely, Uther, they can't, I guess they can go double support back in 2017 I'm talking about. Less likely because they already have Kerosene and they do not want any of their members in that cocoon. Unless they bring out Li Ming. That's also a nice way to break that cocoon with Disintegrate.
I don't know if this is the series for Li Ming. Obviously, Volskaya plays much differently than our last game, so it would look different, but we'll see if Ballistix want to put their eggs in that Li Ming basket again. Ban on Hammer, or Sergeant Hammer. Paymall going to be taking that one out, and that's going to send it back over to BlossoM. I guess they haven't given away too much just yet, but I don't know, I just love watching more Kerosene, especially in the hands of very accomplished players.
Let's see, it is Task Tracer once again, but this time I think they need to lock those down. Maybe bringing some taunts. I'm not talking about Varian, I'm talking about Garrosh in this case. If you have some Warlord challenge, make sure you have some taunt on the Tracer with an extra bit of DPS, and maybe not even because you already have Kerosene. Just blow up that Tracer, make sure you can't really dive in all the time freely once you have that taunt. That's my line of thinking here for BlossoM, as Kono didn't really show too many Garrosh before.
Yeah, Garrosh, I mean, we've seen a lot of Johanna today, so always potential. But, oh wow, I wouldn't have expected, I guess, Tyrael Blaze.
Okay, instead they choose the defending path with the shield and the bunker.
Very defensive there for BlossoM. Because Bunker makes a lot of sense against Tracer, so that's, I guess, one route of thinking.
It is because they have to fight for a long time. It is Volskaya.
Yeah.
You have to think about, unless they were going to go burst, and with Hanzo it is possible with the scatter, but that's only, there's a condition, that's only if you get bounced off close to a wall that's going to hit all the heroes with those arrows. It could be burst damage, but when they're far away from the wall, you can maybe only hit one or two.
I mean, that's what happens when you see these like wombo combo comps. It's like they're designed to do something so specific that unless all of those characteristics are met, they're just not as effective as a team that is just averagely better. So there is the Urel ETC final picks coming in for Ballistix. So lots of crowd control piled into that. Where's the damage coming from here for Ballistix? Is it just all Tracer?
No, Urel. Urel and Tracer.
I mean, okay.
And Tastar to back it up. Actually, Tastar does a lot of damage. Tastar can actually do most damage in lots of games, and in this case where they actually have to sustain, I think it's very possible as well.
That's a good point. I always underestimate that. Kind of similar to Karazim, you see it as a support, but, or not, I guess not as a primary support, but keep an eye on that. I don't know. But maybe this is where I never make that mistake again. We'll find out. Last pick, Greymane.
They need something.
BlossoM.
Not just the Karazim to dive in. It can be a little bit dangerous because now there's that ETC for Ballistix to control the CC around it with that power slide. It's a big one. So they want another source that's going to be grabbing the kill when Hanzo's lacking the damage. Greymane is a perfect choice.
Indeed it is. And that's going to do it for what could still be our final pick and ban phase. BlossoM are consistently trying to hold on to their last life here. But if they can take this game, then they'll bring us to match point, and that is going to be very exciting. It would be our first game 5 of this phase. And for BlossoM to take a team like Ballistix there would be truly, truly monumental. So it's going to be a very exciting game here. For BlossoM, it means a lot. For Ballistix, I mean, in previous... Yeah, camera guy, what have you found this time? What is happening here, G-Clef?
Saying goodnight.
Why did you park your car here?
Saying goodnight to the car. Go back to sleep.
Night car. What is the car? This from Cujo? I don't know. Or not Cujo. What is it? What's that Stephen King book that is the car that kills things?
Your car is your best buddy. You gotta put him to sleep before going back to home.
I don't
That's what you
know
do all the time in the garage,
how that
right?
works, G-Clef. I'm gonna put a pin in that one for later.
Make sure you go watch that later on when you play Volskaya. But the game's on. Game number 4. Ballistix, of course, on the match point. Greymane against an ETC. The reason why we are seeing ETC a little bit more is because the reason why we have to go back and talk about why ETC was out of meta for such a long time. Not out of meta, but lower in priority, tier 2.
Okay.
Because he could get focused and die. He's not like a Murden with an avatar. He can't really... He can escape by himself, but once he dives in, he will basically die focus fired on himself because he's, compared to other tanks, lower in HP, I would say. But with Urel, so they have like a secondary tank in a way. So that's why we're seeing a lot more ETC coming into the meta right now.
Well, that's the great thing about Urel too, is that she does kind of fulfill so many different roles. She just has a kit that just, oh my god, it's so good. So almost immediately kind of introduced into the meta and can accomplish a whole lot, whether you need DPS, tanking, solo lane, all sustain, it just all kind of fits in one great kit. So does help kind of round out Ballistix's lineup. See how it faces off here against a very solid one from BlossoM. They did go a little bit defensive, especially with their middle of their draft, and now a big contest here in the middle. Fairyday going into the back line on SCE, pushing him back, but SCE's dropping very low on that Tracer. Nono trying to commit for it, but in the end, BlossoM do win out.
Yeah, they did have Pulse Bomb, and also told actually to dive in because ETC has a bar slide, and once you're all in that smoke zone, you can stun a lot of them, provide some extra damage as well, but they were missing Urel, so it was a 5v4. They didn't really want to go in. Of course, Fleeting Pulse is a very, very important item during the team fight. They didn't want to lose it, but why risk so much when you're missing a member?
Exactly, and you can have things snowball, I guess, a little bit if you give up that early advantage. CP comes up and you're like, okay, well, we're certainly at a little bit of a bad spot. Onkono, a little bit far forward, but he's okay with taking up for now. Hooligan very low. The brunt of most of that damage. That's exactly what you were talking about, G-Clef. The ETC struggles in the front lines.
Even with the heals and the shields, does survive. Like those small things like splitting oil from blades just to slow down the target. And Ballistix, they tried to get the healing pulse back, says that was ours. No, it's neutral. You can't really say that. But BlossoM did also use the turret onto the mid lane as well, so it's not too bad of a trade for Ballistix for this control point right now.
It's going to be about the CP taken first by Ballistix, and so they will be in control of that for now. Are BlossoM going to just rotate down and brute force this? It looks like they do want to contest, I mean, obviously, but it's all about how they do it. So first putting Wiz and Modern on there, Honkono coming in to push Hooligan and Jongha off. Can they do it though? I mean, this is the two tankiest members of Ballistix. They do have a very resilient team.
Hanzo gets the geometry done, passes the test.
Indeed
But
he does. He gets an A for now.
controlling the percentage going on for Ballistix though, because they had the initial positioning on it.
That's true. They will need to regain control of this, or at least BlossoM will. Can they do it? Pulse Bomb takes Gondar pretty low, so he's going to have to mount up and really enter this fight back
SC
again.
barely survives the blink on a cooldown, gets a shield, so a better one. Gondar gets very low, but can't go any more in.
Retake at the last possible moment. A little bit of turret cheekiness going down there at the end, but BlossoM take it back. It's a 99% for Ballistix. All they need to do is get back on it for a second, BlossoM or not, and they will be in control of the first.
That's the power
sector.
of just having those one more turret, one more healing pulse. They could turn the things around, but Ballistix still 99%. They just have to get it back and create one more kill. They will have it right after. They will have the protector right after. Going for it, BlossoM. They do have lots of sustain, even though it's Karazim. The shield from T-Roll is helping a lot against the Storm here. Trying to focus, Tracer does take some damage, but can heal back on Kono, going deep dive.
SC and Hooligan taking big chunks, but gotta watch out there, Gondar. Down at half health, but this is the retake that Ballistix are fighting for. This is what matters. And BlossoM,
99. Here goes
cannot
Jongha.
afford to give this up. Gondar had to go back and get health, and so he is just now rejoining. SC back up to full as well. This is what matters the most.
They're pushing them out of the control zone.
BlossoM are getting pushed back, but here goes the deep dive. Jongha with a nice push.
Nice power slide, focusing on the Wiz, and Gondar Pulse Bomb does find the kill.
And it's a double hit as well. It gets flash onto Wiz, and that's going to push all of BlossoM back and give Ballistix the first control point of the map.
Props to Hooligan for holding that power slide for such a long time. If you don't use the skill, and unless you just go down for some reason, the opponent will be pressured all the time. And once you waste it, the opponent will just pressure you because you're on cooldown with the power slide. But he held that for the perfect time when you had the control over the control point. Ballistix just pushing out their power is massive. They are having to focus their game 4.
That'll give the first protector over to Ballistix, and I mean they'll be able to push through, I guess, not quite that wall, but I guess all but it. But what's the real big win here for Ballistix? Is it just getting the structure damage?
Yes, and getting the experience.
Ah.
Plus potentially getting a kill. And meanwhile, they are actually getting a lot more done in the mid lane as well. Blaze down there soaking up some for BlossoM himself. And this is full sky map. Could get a patch with a stronger protector, but still can go for a long time. Not anymore, but we still do see some Nazivos. Not in competitive anymore, but in Hero League, yes.
Yeah, they're still out there, but in the end, that's the end of the protector, and so we're back on to just a straight up 5v5. No control point for a little bit, so it's all going to be back about these objectives. Turret healing pulses coming out. What is the big advantage that Ballistix has right now? Is it just that XP lead? Is it just? I mean,
Yeah,
right now
XP
it's
lead,
talents.
they have 10, so they get the healing pulse and they can continue that snowball, which is exactly what they're doing, pressuring, getting the turret as well. So they're using this time wisely to steal everything away. Of course, they can steal everything. They do have to go kind of deep to steal the other camp, which is basically impossible without taking the port down. So they're not going to be too aggressive as BlossoM's about to hit 10 as well. They got what they wanted, controlling back for the next control fight.
Kind of biding their time. That is the objective, obviously, that both teams want to fight for. BlossoM had a very defensive comp, but they, most importantly, did not have heroics for that last fight. But now, things are going to look a whole lot different. We've got Dragon Arrow, Bunker, of course, a big one for controlling these points. And, man, I don't know. The first fight just looked so good for Ballistix.
They had some moments. I see, like, Tracer diving a little bit too deep, and Honkono almost baiting out Honkono in a way, which actually was a good move by SCSC in the results, but he was taking a lot of damage with some more pair of like Greymane diving in, because first from Greymane at post 10 will basically be a Tracer solo kill. That can happen also.
Honkono, okay, still go in, pushing things out. BlossoM, they're setting up, right? They're prepping, preparing, even Blaze in the bottom lane doing a good job pushing out. I think so, can't exactly see it. Hooligan just disrupting, making sure that not too much damage is taken from that wave being shoved by BlossoM.
And BlossoM, they're actually keeping Blaze well up, and this rotation with 4 man, they have the wave clear, they have the range. Once they have the kill, lethal. Greymane to grab the kill as well, so they're not really losing too much, making sure they don't fall too behind, even though they lost a lot. But this will be the important fight. Buy items, of course. Ballistix holds, I believe it's 1 turret and 1 healing pulse, but that's enough to basically win the team fight. It will help you so much. Yeah, and you have the double support.
Prevention of DPS, and you're right, the supports make their comp so much more resilient. Although we did talk about the options that BlossoM has for resilience, whether it's Bunker or just sustain in that regard. So here we go, CP number 2. I know a lot of the games that at least I play on Volskaya do wind up being kind of over. If you do lose 2 control points in a row, things just erodes so much. But we haven't actually seen a port or keep taken just yet, so maybe it would be possible if BlossoM does lose it again to defend through another one.
Because BlossoM is out itemed, I would say. Instead of fighting for that top, they want to grab 13 and grab that turret as well. They do lack that healing pulse. Maybe they can just win the sustain war. They're going for another one. Because it doesn't matter if it's 99%, if they take it back and bring that up to 99 of their own, they will get the protector. So using this time wisely, I do like this choice for BlossoM.
A good choice, but will it be one that will get them this point? I mean, that's kind of all that matters in the end, right?
I think it's better to just fight with no weapons on their hands. They do have 2 now. Yeah, double turret for BlossoM, but they do have to go now. Do it now, BlossoM! They are going to go in. There's Merryday getting onto SCSC. A little bit of damage, but a shield coming back through to get him back up there into the fight. Wiz on the point, Honkono joining him, Merryday up to the top. When will they choose to drop these turrets? When will they choose to commit? Ballistix, they're trying to pressure out because they will get the protector very soon. Wiz staying on there, still has a bunker. And Honkono dives deep, has the holy ground separating them from doing damage. Healing Pulse, Hooligan, let's drop it, and Sanctification at the perfect time, so they will have that. And Modern with the Pulse, Hanzo goes down, so it seems like Ballistix will just take this easily because they were having a lot more together. Moshpit just to grab one more at the end. Gondar solo, but just barely able to survive. Same story for Honkono, but it is a disaster for BlossoM. They get completely routed. Ballistix will take their 2nd control point of the game. Protector will be theirs again, and that will allow them to push through not a fort because that was taken out just by the wave earlier, but now potentially even pushing in for their first keep. It was a great demonstration of how to use what you have in your hands to make it better, because when you have the advantage, use it at your hand. Ballistix, they didn't really have to hurry in. That was for BlossoM instead. So using that in your hand, make sure you just sustain. SCSC stays alive. They have double support, and slowly pressure and push them out. Because once they're pushed out, you will get the protector.
That's right, and it's just so important for pushing through these objectives. This keep is kind of all but a foregone conclusion, although they aren't going to overcommit for it. And I think that's just such an important realization by all of our top teams. Wiz going forward might have overcommitted maybe just a little bit. Drops kind of a premature bunker, and I guess Mary Day as well ulting. And so
it was possible because SCSC had the pulse bomb for such a long time. I think they foresaw that before.
Better safe than sorry.
Yes.
So it's not the longest ult timer in the game. They'll be both up in 30-40 seconds. But they do have to defend until then. There's the pulse bomb now on a Modern, blows him up, and this is the pick that Ballistix are looking for to take
their 16 keep is already 30%. They will get the first keep of the game. And Ballistix, they are just continuing their own snowball. It is not becoming too big, but with the keep, they have certainly got something else onto that snowball.
Certainly, yeah. This is the Katamari Damacy snowball that just keeps rolling around, picking up everything, and yeah, snowballing bigger and bigger. BlossoM, what is it that they have been lacking? I mean, Ballistix have been playing very good defending these control points, but is it just their ability to retake?
It's how they control their advantage. I think it just shows their experience of the game, not just the understanding of the map. Because when they have more in their hands, they can fully utilize and use that to their maximum value when BlossoM, they're trying to break through. But because of the advantage, it's always harder for BlossoM. And same story just continues. The 14 minutes.
Yeah, if you thought it was harder earlier, it's a lot harder right now. And they're looking for it. You can see Hongkona leading the way, but I don't think Ballistix are too scared here.
316, but they are so you can't really go fully in. They're contesting a little bit. There's a Hanzo arrow that does connect.
Arrow, he's gonna drop that bunker any second.
There's a mosh pit. Without the arrow, so mosh pit forever, but not connecting the perfect damage along. Pulse bomb is available. Tracer's out there. SC looking for the target.
Wiz dives in, gets a double stun, but I don't know if this fight is going to go the way that BlossoM wanted to. Wiz down, Mary Day dead, and the rest of BlossoM go out. It's only Gondar left alive, and not for a whole lot longer. He's the last surviving member, and that's the wipe for Ballistix.
And here's the thing about Volsky, even if you get the camp, it is actually the first one to click on that turret, and you can steal that. So you don't really have to put all the skills together, and they will just go for core because they have double turrets. Timer still not too long, but for BlossoM, a lot of their heroic actually on the cooldown. Let's see. Scores, losing shield.
And Honkono's back up. Now Hooligan boots him back to the fountain. He comes back up, but it's not enough and not in time. Ballistix close out the series. It is a 3-1, so not a 3-0. Second time they've been involved in that, but they know how to take it this time around, and they will still retain that top or a higher spot. BlossoM still have a little bit to grow, but do show signs of life, taking games off the top teams.
I do think Greymane was not a bad pick considering the map, but there could have been different, better ones for sure. But it was actually Ballistix holding the lead, showing textbook plays from A to Z, what to do, how to control this map with your early advantage, what you have. And this was a game of showing that textbook play from 1 to 10.
I want to see what they say in the interview. What is it like to be stretched and strained as a team that has been part of both of the 3-1s so far? They've been on both sides of it, right? They've been dominated 3-1, and then they have come out and won a 3-1 victory. So they've have to have a very interesting perspective. Just looking at stats, does anything stand out to you, G-Clef?
9-1. Yes, that shows a lot, and that's basically what happened. It was pretty dominant. They never really lost their lead. Ballistix keeping up. Tracer doing that much damage does end up. One thing that sticks out, Greymane not really doing too much damage. I would say that's because he never really got a chance to go for the throat, as they have the shield, they have double support. The sustain was way too big.
There was a lot of it. I actually thought maybe there would be an advantage for BlossoM in that area. I mean, they did lock in, I think, I'm trying to think back through the draft. It was a Tyrael Blaze cycle for them. And it's like, wow, that's a lot of, we just want to fight right here, whether it's holy ground or whether it's the bunker. It's just like, okay, well, this is our defense. But I like what you said, getting out-itemed, right? The itemization for Ballistix was just such a priority. They always rotated for either extra healing pulses, extra turrets, and really used those to a huge advantage, able to take every control point.
It's kind of like those RPGs. If you're having a PvP, just right-click onto your opponent, see his items, and you kind of know that you're already going to lose, right? And if your opponent has like 13k power, and you only have like 10k power, maybe I can't. No, there's no way. But yeah, there are chances in Heroes of the Storm, but it's less likely in Volskaya. That's why you try to have all the control. That's why BlossoM actually didn't go all the way up first. They grabbed both turrets and then went up later, and grabbing 13 talent as well. So they made their chances higher, but still against what they were behind, they couldn't really complete that too often.
Well, they couldn't complete the comeback. I was hoping that BlossoM would be able to at least take us maybe to a Game 5. Let's get my hopes way up there. But we did have our, I guess, primary hope fulfilled. It wasn't a 3-0. A lot of memes out there about whether or not this is just going to be 3-0s the whole phase through. Not quite. There are, I guess, exceptions to every rule. Usually it's the exception that proves the rule, but now there's 2 of them. They're multiplying. So here's a look at the way that our second best of 5 went. So of course a 3-1. This time Ballistix on the winning side of that score. They do take Volskaya in the end and take the series win over BlossoM.
Finally, we did see the strong power side of Ballistix in this meta. I think they have already stepped into the right meta. Finally, in their third series, I believe, and
we're back.
And we're back. I don't know, but BlossoM also showing promise of Gondar DPS, which wasn't too consistent, but Spider Queen's third game, a pretty good Maiev, and maybe kind of like Tempest. It's quite different, of course, but switching Honkono and Gondar back and forth depending on their hero, I think it could work, but they need a lot more in-depth drafting skills to do that. With experience, I think it could happen later on. I think it could be an okay idea. Wolf would hate that. He's always like, no, stick one player to the same role all the time for 10,000 years. And that's what he says all the time. But I think having flexibility in this meta is actually not too bad.
Yeah. Well, then you'll feel the hatred for 10,000
yes.
years, right? That's another thing that happens. The bigger thing for me, at least, is just seeing the progression, right? For BlossoM, they are still a new roster. Kind of the same situation for Miracle, Gluck. There's a lot of changes. Roster Apocalypse came to HGC Korea this time for sure. And for BlossoM, it has resulted in a stronger roster, but one that kind of still needs to gel. Let's take a look back through those games, and here's a look at game number 1, Gondar. How do you do it? Look at that save.
Honkono. Honkono's pretty good at Tyrael, I gotta give you. Even back in his old team, Tempest, having that experience as well did help a lot. This game was actually close. I would say not the most close game out of the 4 games, but for Dragonshire and how BlossoM actually prepared against Ballistix, it's well done. Great cleanses from Merryday.
How's it doing coming into this one? I would say that this also was not one of the closest. Nice cocoon on the Decker at the back, and this is finally where Modern really struggled because he just was not able to stay alive through everything Ballistix was throwing at him.
Yeah, I would say this game 2 actually shows the importance of ban pick. Banning out Luther gave a big struggle for entire team of BlossoM, just having Deckard as a second choice too. As Luther was banned out, did not really work too perfectly against the cocoon.
And then finally the comeback. A big win here for Ballistix, and let's look at this, if I'm not mistaken, again a huge Maiev play by Gondar.
We'll see. Look at that bulk. Dodging everything, even the point-click stun from Luther. You can see the animation, so a lot has been spent. All dodged.
No, just super, super strong play. I don't want to give the total MVP there, but he's a very strong part of that team. Now, fighting for CPs was what decided this game, but this fight was one of the biggest for Ballistix.
They wanted to go in. They thought they had the bunker, everything in their hand. But in terms of sustain, fast start, Tracer. And when you are fighting off the zone, Gondar can't really dive in too well. Once he dives in, he will be pulse bombed by Tracer.
네, 오늘
get to
승리팀
meet Hooligan.
발리스틱스의 훌리건 선수와
Of course,
인터뷰
myself.
시작하도록
Nick Left will
하겠습니다.
translate.
일단 오늘 메리데이어 홍건호 선수를 영입해서 기대를 모았던 블라썸을 이겼습니다.
And
축하드립니다.
He did blossom. Even with the new roster of Mary Day Kono in.
오늘 경기 소감 한마디 부탁드릴게요.
Let's hear from you, Hooligan.
블라썸 되게 잘하는 팀인데
Blossom, they're really good.
그래서 그냥 다행이고
We're just glad that we won against them. And I'm really happy.
좋나요?
네 많이 좋아요. 네
Yeah,
한번 더
I'm really happy.
다시 한번 많이 좋다고 얘기해 주세요.
그래서 제가 웃는 법을 까먹어서
I forgot how to smile.
왜요?
From
많이 힘들어요.
I'm having tough times.
더 빠지고 있고
I'm losing.
네,
I'm
알겠습니다.
actually losing weight as well.
일단 1세트를 기선제압 하셨어요. 무라딘 초강타로.
네
사실 지금 무라딘
And
초강타가
You
대세입니다.
got the first
그
set
이유가
with
뭐라고
the haymaker
생각하시나요?
with the Muradin. Why do you think
그냥
haymaker is
자체가,
becoming meta?
한번 사는 게 중요한데
And Muradin
그냥
surviving once more is actually important.
그러니까 무라딘이 아쉬운 점이라고 하면은 좀 CC에 약간 저지력이 좀 부족하거든요.
Kind of weak against
무라딘이
lots of
무시하고
crowd control.
게임하는 경우도 많아요. 그래서
There are lots of games where you just ignore Muradin and play.
잘안 죽겠다 싶으면은 그냥 초강타를 찍어서
And when you just think
CC를
you
하나
can
더
just
갖겠다
survive,
이런
and
의미로 사용하는 것
you
같아요.
just pick that haymaker, you have another CC for yourself.
네.
보충해 줄 수
네,
있는
맞아요.
탱커다. 그러면 만약에 팬들이
can
히오스를
actually support the
시작한다고
team.
하면 무라딘 초강타를 자신 있게 추천해 주실 건가요?
Will you actually
저는
recommend all the
CC는
players, all the Muradin players to pick haymaker?
그냥
I do
진짜
like to pick it,
각이겠다 싶을 때만 찍는
but
거라서
only if you
그냥
know it
어차피 안
can
찍어도 안
actually
죽겠다
work.
이 생각할 때만 저는 찍는 편이거든요.
Just only when you think you can survive,
안 찍어도 안 죽을 것 같았나요?
even without the
네,
avatar.
일단 상대가 일단 CC가 얼마 없고 해머랑
Make sure your opponent does not have too much
PX이기
CC.
때문에 결국 슬로우랑
Not too many
그냥
slows
퉁퉁퉁
or
쳐서 잡는 거기 때문에 그냥 제가 죽겠다 싶으면은 도망치면 되거든요. 네. 그래서 찍었어요.
and you can actually escape without too many CCs onto from your opponent. So that will be the time when you pick haymaker.
그냥 제가 이번 시즌부터 뱀픽을 하고 싶어서 하게 됐는데
Starting from this season,
제가
I started
하겠다고 해서
fan
하게
picks.
됐어요. 근데 뭐 승철이가 못해서 그런 게 아니라
For my team,
저보다
not that a
분명
CSE is bad,
무조건 더 잘하는데 스트레스를 너무 받더라고요. 얘가
but
너무
he was getting way too
힘들어가지고
much stress from having
그냥 내가
doing the
할게
draft
하고
for the team,
하고
and
있습니다.
Hooligan kind of
또
took it
나중에
over.
바뀔 수도 있어요. 다시
And it
승철이
can actually
돌아갈 수도 있어요.
change later on. You never know.
지금 살이 이렇게 빠지신 건가요?
And is that the main stress?
뱀픽보다는
Why you reason?
제가 좀
The reason why you lost so much weight?
예전보다 많이 못해진 것 같아가지고
I think it's because
그만큼의 이제
not playing as
요새는
well
더
compared to
노력을 하고 있거든요. 그래서
my
저희가
past
불과
plays.
몇 개월 전만 해도
So I'm practicing really hard.
그러니까 블랙이 총
Just a few months
6번의
ago,
해외 대회에서 4번을 우승했잖아요. 그래서 저희 팀이
Black actually
2번이나
in
막았고
6 international, they won 4.
가장 최근 게 몇
And
개월
we blocked few
전이잖아요.
of them.
4개월? 3, 4개월 전인데
That's only
그만큼 저희가 뭐 블랙보다
3, 4
잘한다는
months
건
ago, I
아니지만
thought we were better than them at the
강팀
moment.
중에 한 팀이었는데
Yeah, we were one of the
가장 최근에
few.
미드 시즌에서 6등을 했고
Best that we
그리고
placed in
그
6th in
6등한
MSB.
원인 중에 저는 가장 큰 게 일단 저라고
And the
생각해요.
biggest reason why we placed 6th in MSB was actually myself. I do feel that. I think I was really bad, and that's why we lost.
그래서 이번 주에 좀 템페랑 블라썸을 다 이겨서
So
좀
this week,
만회를 하고 싶었는데
we wanted to defeat Tempest and Blossom, but we couldn't defeat Tempest.
좀 많이 힘들었는데 오늘은 좀
So it gave a lot of stress for myself. But today, I think I actually played my part
그거에 대해서 좀 많이
as a tank, and so I'm actually really happy about that. In fact,
좀 범위형에서 제가 좀 잘못한 것 같아가지고
and in Spider Queens, I think I made some mistakes in that map, which we lost. So that's a little bit disappointing. But other than that, I think I did pretty well.
근데 이렇게 얘기를 듣다 보니까 굉장히 그런 분석과 반성 그런 것들이 지금 이 자리에 앉아 있을 수 있게끔 만들어준 것 같아요. 조금 기운을 내세요.
아, 네.
Cheer up,
네.
Hooligan. I think all those
알겠습니다.
experience will help.
그래서 오늘 전체적으로
In the
굉장히
future?
공격적인 전사 픽이 많이 나왔어요. 홀리건 선수가. 근데 이 마지막 세트에서 ETC를 뽑으셨는데 어떻게 쓰시려고
Final-
픽을 하신
final
건지
game ETC.
궁금합니다.
Or going through your mind when you pick this ETC.
그냥, 상대 조합이 결과적으로 그냥 좀 한 번에 킬을 보는 조합이기 때문에 결국
And the
제가
opponent,
한번
I knew
세이브를
they
해줘야
were going for the
되겠다 생각을 했는데
first damage kill.
요한나도 전 되게 괜찮아 보였는데
I thought Johanna
요한나
was also okay.
예전에는 잘했던 것 같은데 요새 좀 못하는
I
것 같아가지고
think I was pretty good at Johanna, but
그래서
I don't think I am
세이브
as
하는 거
good
중에
as
뭐가 괜찮을까 했는데 그냥
my past plays on Johanna.
그냥 소가 제일 괜찮아 보여서
And
소를 했어요.
I just thought ETC was the best choice,
네,
so I just picked
알겠습니다.
ETC.
오늘 가서 혹시 개인 방송 하실 건가요?
Are you going
아,
to
네,
stream tonight?
오늘은 할 것 같아요.
I think I am actually going to stream tonight because I
오늘
want.
방송 제목 뭐라고 하실 건가요?
What's going to be the stream title? Hooligan
연습, 훈련 뭐 이런 주제로
practice.
오늘도 역시 연습에 매진하는.
네, 그냥 솔직히
Training.
저희 팀원 4명이 엄청 잘하거든요. 그리고
My teammates are so good, the four of
원래
them.
항상 잘하는데
They're always really good.
다탑 포지션으로 포지션마다 다 잘한다고 생각하는데
think
특히
they're
정화가 요새
Best in the positions,
서브탱
their own
중에서는
positions.
그냥 원탑인 것 같아요.
I think
제가
정화 is
느끼기에는.
actually the
그냥
best
스트림하고
sub-tank, the
대회하는
solo
거
lane.
하면서 요새
In
원래
all
잘하는데
the
요새 더 잘한다 이렇게
competitive
느꼈는데
games, he
얘가
was
이렇게
good, but
잘하는데
he's actually better
내가 이거
now.
바텀 아래쪽을 좀 커버를 못 쳐주니까 너무 미안한 거예요.
So for me
너무
to actually
미안했는데
rotate off lanes, and for me to not as
그냥
being
뭐 다른 방법이 없어요.
not
그냥
being
연습해가지고
not playing as well, I think I
다음에 더
do feel
잘하는
bad
건
because of
방법입니다.
that as well.
아닙니다. 오늘 못하지 않고
Do you wanna
굉장히
say,
잘했기
do you wanna
때문에
give
이
my
자리에 앉아 계신
shout out to
거고요.
Jungha for that?
그리고 항상 이렇게 자기 자신을 채찍질하는 우리 훌리건 선수의
Look at that,
인터뷰
Hooligan
너무
just
잘
whipping
들었는데요.
himself to become a better
이거
player all the
빼먹을
time.
뻔했네요. 다음 상대가 글럭이에요.
What a player. But
글럭의
next up, let's talk about the next match
글럭과의
though.
경기에
Against Gluk.
임하는 각오 한마디 해주세요.
Let's hear some shout outs.
물론 그냥 가고
Gluk.
이런 건 없고 그냥 항상 그냥 다 이겨야 되겠다는 마음가짐이라서
We'll just have the same mindset.
팀명도 잘
Let's just try
몰랐으니까
to win everything.
무시했다는 게 아니라 그냥 다 이겨야 되니까
You just have to
네,
win
그리고
everything.
어차피
That's
가장 힘든
our
상대가
focus.
마지막에 있거든요. 저희는 블랙이
네.
마지막 젠지
we
팀이
do have
마지막에
Genji
있기
for our
때문에
final match.
마지막이 가장 힘들고
So that is
나머지는
going
다
to be the
이기자
hardest
이런 생각을
matchup.
그냥 하고 있기 때문에 네, 굴럭도 그냥
for
이겨야
us.
된다고 생각하고 있습니다.
So we will try to do our best for, against Gluk as well.
된다는 마음가짐을 가지고 있다는
네네
뜻이죠.
맞아요.
네, 알겠습니다. 다 이제 오늘 어쨌든 승리팀으로서 여기 앉아 계신 거니까 조금 오늘 경기를 발판으로 힘을
here because
내셔서
you won.
다음 경기도 잘 하셨으면 좋겠습니다.
Hopefully you
네,
take
네.
some
네,
energy
그럼 훌리건
and
선수와
play
인터뷰
better
여기까지
next
하도록
time. And that was the interview with
준비해주신
Hooligan.
분들 다
Very in.
한마디만.
네, 하세요.
Never mind. He wants to have another shout out.
저희 팀 원들이랑 그리고 팀 그 스폰서 분들이랑
To the sponsors and all the fans and
되게
teammates.
실망을 많이 시켜드린 것 같아서 정말 죄송하고요.
I think there were way too many
앞으로 있는
disappointments.
대회들 더 열심히
disappointments.
준비해서 잘하도록
We're sorry about that,
노력하겠습니다.
and we will try our best and
팔도 찌겠다고 말씀해 주세요.
get the support.
하기 힘들어요.
We will do better. We will play better.
그럼 오늘 인터뷰
Create better
여기까지
results.
마치도록 하겠고요. 중계진분들 나와주세요.
That's it from Hooligan. Very deep moments as we don't really get to see